All right. So we move on to looking at how to account for some income that's a not-for-profit organization may earn. So as we know, for some non-profit organizations, they have certain other activities that they engage in to bring them profit, like a bar, like a bookshop, um, like a place where people can have refreshments and so on. So these benefits that they get from these other activities apart from their core business is what we capture here as the bar trading activities. Okay, so usually you have details in your receipt and payment account and some additional information to help you. Okay, so you always need to check the information in the receipt and payment account and the additional information to look out for connections between the the receipt and payment account and the additional information, whether there's any information about bar trading activities. Usually we refer to it as bar. It can be bookshop trading activities, it can be refreshment trading activities, it can be stationary trading activities. Okay. But for emphasis, the general term that we often find is the bar trading account. So just like we do for a bar trading account, it's always important to start with the three W's, the name of the NGO or the not-for-profit organization, the statements that you are preparing, which is the bar trading accounts, and the period that you are preparing it for. So 2021, okay? And then of course your currency. When it create two columns here, depending on the information, if you want to create two columns, the first column for your additions and then the second column is for your totals. Okay, so typically for a bar trading account, you are looking for your income. Okay, here your sales, and then you have your cost of goods sold, you have your gross profits, you take out your expenses to give you your net profits. So it's the same concept that we use for the trading account. Okay. All right. So having said this, you're going to work out getting these elements. All right. Great. So the first thing I need to find out is my sales from here. Okay. Always remember what am I looking for? That's a question you should ask. And where is it going to land me? Okay, where is it? What is the end goal? Once you're able to find that where you're going and how you're going to get there, it's helpful. So I want my profit. Now I can do that by finding my sales. How do I get my sales from here? Okay, so if you check your receipts and payments account, you're going to have information about bar receipts, monies that your members have paid either for items at the bar. Always look out for things about the bar. So let's do a quick search. We see bar receipts here. This usually will represent your bar sales, monies that you have received from your sales. Okay, so if you don't see bar receipts, you can see bar sales. You also have information about wages for the bar. You also have purchases for the bar. You also have, in additional information, stock for the bar. So if it's stationery, it means you have stationery for the bar. opening stock of stationery, opening stock of bar. Okay, so whatever it is. So we are going to fish out the bar information to help us prepare our statements. So I'm going to capture my sales from the bar sales 1875. I move on to my cost. So my less cost of goods sold, always write in full. Okay, for the purpose of illustration, we are leaving it as this. So my cost of goods sold, how do I find that? So we know that is our opening stock, opening bar stock for emphasis. And we find that in the additional information. I always check the years, as we've said earlier. Very important. Okay, so my 1st January and my 31st. Of course, my 1st January is my opening stock. Let me move this a bit closer. So my opening stock is what? 575. What else do I need? I add my purchases. So if there are returns here, we also need to account for that. Purchases, returns, and so on. So this gives me my goods available for sale if I want to show that I remember my concepts for sale. Great. So once I have my goods available for sale, which is this, I take out my closing stock, my closing bar stock for emphasis, which is my 825 right here. Okay, 825. So let's move the sign back up to the top rather. And this should be bottom. Yes. Okay. So my closing stock is 825. And then I have my cost of goods available minus my closing stock, which is my 675. So this is my cost of goods sold. All right. Yes. And then I can find my gross profits, which is my sales minus my cost of goods sold. Okay. To have my gross profits, I take out my expenses. How do I get my expense? So it's bar. Sometimes you can have so many of them. This wages. Okay, or I can call it bar wages. Okay, and that was 190. So once you get your receipts and payments account, first thing, identify whether there are any trading activities. Okay, if it has to do with a bar, you pick them all up and use it to prepare your statement. I just have one expense, so I'm going to subtract that. So here we go. I have my expense subtracted. I get my net profits. Now, what can help you to remember once you calculate this, in, because there are a number of things you'll be working out, it's helpful if you state it there for yourself. Write in pencil or just note that down. So you're transferring the square to your income and expenditure account. Oops. Let's see. Okay. Right. So this is going to my income and expenditure account. I've found my gross profits, which was key. I've found my cost of goods sold as well. I found my sales. These are the main elements I need. Okay. I found my cost of goods available for sale. And then I have my net profit. So when I go into my income and expenditure accounts, so still three R's, three W, sorry, Gata Fund Club, my income and expenditure account for the year 31st December 2021. I'm showing as part of my income, and then my currency. So if I've calculated for what do you call it, my subscription to be here. So if you check the previous video where we did the subscription, we had our subscription somewhere. Okay. So under my income, I have my bar profits, which is my green coming from here, my 1010. So these are my greens. Which green was it? Is it this one? I think it's this here. So my bar profit is here. If I have my subscription, which I calculated earlier on in the previous video, I put that also there. Okay. So you're building up your income. If there are other incomes that you are told you added to it. So these two you have to calculate for it. Okay, we've seen how to get the bar profit. We've seen how to get the subscription for the year. Okay. All right. Now, what you also need to note is that these two, okay, out of these two, one of them will go into your statement of financial position. Okay, so your closing balances always appear in your statement of financial position. So let's take note of that. Your closing balances appear in your statement of financial position. So if you go into your statement of financial position, still with our three W's like Gata Fund Club, statements of financial position as at 31st December 2021. All right, you have your assets, you have your liabilities, and so on. Now, if you don't remember anything at all, remember to show your closing balances here. Okay, so what will be your closing balance here? If you check your additional information, your bar stock, look at the date, 31st December 2021. It's a closing balance. So all your closing balances should be shown in your statement of financial position at the end of the year. Okay. So your bar stock 825 is your closing balance for stock. So you need to capture that here. So under your current assets, it's part of your current assets. So you may have your non-current assets. List that you have your current assets. You're going to list your bar stock. Don't leave it. Okay, it's a closing balance. Your bar stock was 825 from the additional information. All right. So this is your how you present your bar stock. If there are other information at the end of the year, like subscription. In the previous video, we had subscription owing and subscription prepaid. So you check the balances and they'll also be here. So subscription owing was an asset. Okay, so we capture that for that particular period, the closing balance. So if you check in the previous video, this also should come. All right. Okay. And then if it's you get your liability, your subscription, prepaid, it's your owing. Okay. So that also come. Remember, these are all balances at the end of the year. So all closing balances should feature. All right. So don't leave your bar stock. Remember to put it in your statement of financial position together with any of the closing balances. Remember, here will be your closing balances. So take note of that. Closing balances. And then here will be your income and expenditure account. Okay. All right. So that's it. We are calculating for our income. Remember, our end goal is to get here. Okay. Our end goal is to get here. We want to know our income from our profits derived from trading activities, our subscription that we've received for the year, and then we continue with our expenditure. Okay, so this session was on the bar trading account. Okay, there are more details that could be added if there are returns, purchases returns, sales returns, and so on. And I'm sure we'll remember how to do that. All right, so keep practicing and you'll become perfect.